Welcome to That's No Class. I'm Brian Berumen.
And I'm Morgan Darian.
Welcome back to the home of class, where we talk about the most interesting and funny things happening in the news and in our lives, try to figure out how to live classy, and call out no-class moves.
This week in news, Brian brings us unorthodox anxiety treatments. I cover a small world. We bring back, you think what? Brian has a profile in class, and as always, we end with our no-class picks.
Friend, you'll be happy to know we have other listeners that hate that I call you Mogo and say that it's the worst nickname ever and I should stop saying it.
Oh my gosh, yes. I love you, whoever you are.
They're on your side.
I don't know who you are, but I love you. We're friends now.
Okay, let's get to some news.
Now here's the news.
You like that? That made you happy? Okay. So this story really caught my eye this week because I'm not a person who feels anxiety basically at all.
Okay.
I know a lot of people deal with it. It's an issue. I do not. Except now I'm doing this new job at work, and it is by far the most high-stress, insane thing I've ever done, and I've come the closest I've probably ever come to having a panic attack in my life in the last few weeks at work.
Okay,
And this story I saw on USA Today says TikTokers say this candy may cure a panic attack, and experts agree.
What?
Okay, so this woman posts a video saying her therapist tells her when she feels like she's having a panic attack to eat a sour warhead. The sourness is so overwhelming that it pulls you out of your panicked state. And my coworker and I were talking about this, and the annoying thing about the panic is that it's just a distraction. We're not in a social setting or in leisure time. We're at work, and this panic is standing in the way of us doing what we need to do. I mean, it's kind of like, it would be like stage fright or something. Like
That's
you're just,
horrible.
stuck. And we know that rationally we'll get through it and do what we need to do. We're just mentally paralyzed. So the therapist in the article says the warheads work because the brain can only handle one emergency at a time. So if you're in a panic, the warhead will pull you out of it and focus on like the insane sourness.
This is crazy.
This is crazy. Physically, something physically happening to me is crazy. And then when that's gone, you won't go back to the original panic, at least not like immediately.
It's a really good tool.
So it's just your body is overreacting to something and pulls you out. And I thought that was cool.
That is cool.
Might have to go buy a pack of warheads, friend, because
Oh my
things
gosh.
be getting rough these days at work. And I'll talk more about that in my profile in class coming up later. But what do
right.
you have, friend?
Okay, this story comes to us from Disneyland, your favorite place and the happiest place on earth, as they say. This guy strips down to his undies and in the middle of It's a Small World decides to exit his boat and wander around amid the animatronics. Sometimes getting into the water, sitting cross-legged in the water. A worker is yelling at him to sit down because she's worried he's going to fall or something, which I'm sure it's slippery, fine. They shut down the ride for an hour. My whole thing is like, first, just being on this ride is utter torture. I don't hate on Disneyland like Brian, but It's a Small World goes on for approximately 53 minutes, and the song repeats over and over again. A song that shall not be named because no one wants that in their head for 7 days. Terrible. Here's the other insanity. I guess they're trying to make sure he doesn't get hurt. So, of course, they stop the ride immediately, and the people on the ride just have to sit there watching this drugged-up wild man look around the decor while the song plays over and over, and they can't escape until the authorities cart him away. He didn't seem particularly bothered by being transported belly down midair. He was chilling. One guy filming yells out, "Idiot!" in front of the children. Which is just like a hilarious, very clean sentence to say to someone. It's just very strange.
That's great.
Man, they didn't see any peen. They're fine. But for the love of Christ, get those poor folk off that ride. It's a Small World, and the Tiki Hut can go right to hell. Straight to hell.
All right, I have a controversial opinion.
Oh, what?
I know the Disney people, me not liking Disney is already, controversial, but
Yes.
I don't have a problem with It's a Small World.
What? The worst ride in...
I think it's really interesting.
Interesting.
I know it's full of
Interesting how?
I know it's full of outdated cultural stereotypes and yada yada and yada yada, which it is, 100%. But it's also the only kind of diverse look at the world that you get in that place.
What?
It's like a
are you
It's just like
talking
living
about?
dioramas.
What? The song repeats 50 trillion times. It's the most annoying song, first of all.
It's not.
And then I don't even know if it's animatronics. It's like cardboard cutouts.
Yeah, it's just like
And-
slowly rotating things.
And nothing is ever like you just go on a boat slowly through that,
Yeah,
and
it's
you
like
just see many children.
It's like a carnival ride. Yeah, it's the children of around the world. And you're like, look, we can all be friends.
This
It's a
is
nice
astounding.
message.
I wish
like
I
the
had used this
message.
for my You Think What, because you are insane. I can't even handle this information right now.
Well, I'm glad they got rid of that guy. Okay.
I cannot believe
I didn't know it would shake you up that much.
it. Yes.
Okay, personal news.
Okay. What?
Other than that, I'm down with the small world. You know what I also like is that one,
Crazy.
the storybook land when you're on the boat in that one, and you just see like these tiny miniature models of all the kingdoms in Disneyland.
Oh, I don't think I've seen
You
that.
go in the mouth of the. Like
that a
the
little
sperm
kid
whale.
ride?
It's like the Pinocchio
So
whale.
you like these like children's rides?
Yeah, Mr.
That's
Toad.
what you like.
I'm down with that. That Peter Pan ride.
I
It's
still
legit.
haven't been on that.
It's legit. I'm telling you.
That's what I've heard.
Telling you, the real ones know. Okay. Now I will get to personal news. All right. This isn't really personal to me, but I
Oh.
like to celebrate the people who we root for. So,
All right.
Open Table is a restaurant reservation website.
Mm-hmm.
It made a list of top 100 restaurants, according
Okay.
to them. Our friend, Chef Chris, Pizzeria Bianco,
Uh-huh.
made this list
Hell yeah, you
of
did.
top 100 restaurants. Out of only 14 restaurants in California, he's on there.
Heck yeah.
So it's awesome. They made the list compiling data using 12 million verified diner reviews, how many
Alright.
reservations were made in advance, and then how many high reviews it had. So you could say that it's a measure of customer satisfaction if people actually went to the restaurant.
Okay.
So big props to our boy, Chef Chris.
Chris.
No surprise, our favorite restaurant in LA. Check it out, guys.
I'm hungry now.
The other restaurants on the list, I've been to about half of them.
Mm.
We got to get to the rest of them, friend.
All right. I'm down.
Okay. What
I
do you
like
got?
that.
What's happening with you?
My personal news is that in a couple days, I'm done with my semester. And after winter break, I only have one more. And I never thought I'd get my degree. And yet, here it is on the horizon.
It's amazing.
I kind of want to get that medallion that says STD because it isn't that
What
the
is
most.
that?
Okay, it's the most insane acronym for an honor society.
What the heck does that stand for?
It's the English Honor Society. It's got.
Oh,
It's- Yeah. Shout out to my Sigma Tau Delta bros and hoes.
STD. Hey, I mean, I went to a school called UTI, so
Well, yeah.
not much
That's
better.
Not great. English Honor Society go hard.
Yeah. Sigma Tau Delta
Yeah.
represent that STD.
Can you imagine
crazy.
wearing a
I
medallion?
mean, I think you should do it. Just like when we were saying our vows. We came this close when we said our vows to ending it
my
and
gosh.
saying see you later at the end. Only we thought that was funny. Everyone will think STD is funny.
It's a wild thing to do,
I
but
say
yeah.
go for it. I
Okay.
say go for it.
Awesome.
Okay. When we come back, Morgan and I are going to duke it out over who thinks what. And then class comes to the rescue to save me when I get way over my head at work. Thanks so much for being here. We love having you. We'll be right back.
Sometimes you run into someone, be it stranger or best friend, who says something that is so off base you have to wonder how they've gone this long thinking this way without anyone catching on. We haven't done this segment in a while, but we like making fun of each other. So once again, here's our segment called You Think What?
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Wow. Crazy. You're crazy, girl.
Okay.
What
All
do you
right.
have?
You are first to be picked on. Morgan comes home from work. She says she's feeling a little off. I say, okay. Are you sick? And she says, no, it's just like one side of my face feels weird. So I say, the obvious answer with those symptoms, oh, you mean you're having a stroke? And she says, no, just one side of my face is tingling. And I say, stroke. But she says, no, it's like when you have a fever and your skin tingles, you know?
Yeah.
And I said, no, I don't know. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Which is insane.
And she looks at me like I'm crazy.
Yes.
She cannot believe that I've never felt this.
Yes.
She says, a fever. And I say, yeah, my forehead gets hot. Maybe my muscles get really achy and uncomfortable if it's really bad, but I don't feel anything on my skin.
What?
What are you talking about? And please describe this
Okay.
to our listeners.
Okay, you know how your muscles get achy?
Yeah.
Your skin gets achy.
No.
Yes, 100% it does.
What do you mean?
It's like if you, let's say your hand touches your shoulder, then your shoulder feels like horribly uncomfortable.
It's not the muscles underneath. You sure you're
No,
not
it's
like
your
confusing?
skin, and your body just feels like it's irritated.
It's irritated.
Yes.
Your skin.
Yes. What are you talking
I don't know
about?
what you're talking about. This happens every time you have a fever?
Yes.
What, like,
Okay, so I actually knew you were going to use this, and so I asked one of my classes about it.
the whole
He
class?
interrupted the entire class. I interrupted everyone. I was like, "Listen, I need some people to back me up here."
Okay.
Okay, there were maybe 2 people who said, "Absolutely not. That's insane." And everyone else was like, yeah, heck yeah, you get tingly.
That's so
And I was
weird.
like, hell yeah.
That's
I'm
so
correct.
weird to me.
They offered to have me like record their answers, but I forgot.
You said
we got
no?
busy.
Well, then where's your proof?
I'll get it
I don't
again.
believe you. I don't believe
I'll
that class.
get it.
I don't believe any of that.
You know what? I'll get it.
Never seen this in my life.
That's insane. I guess you're just lucky.
I guess.
It does not feel good.
What is it, like color blindness or something? Like just a certain percentage of the population feels it maybe and other people don't?
Maybe.
Weird. Well, if you've experienced, if you
weird.
have any idea what Morgan is talking about, please let us know. If you think I'm crazy, fine. But I've never experienced this. Don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
All right.
I really wish I had known about your insanity with It's a Small World because I would have used that as my you think what. But this is what I got.
What other thing about me do you have?
Okay. Well, mine is kind of stretching the form of this segment, but here you go. Okay.
You do that.
So Ryan had brought a small pumpkin from Trader Joe's.
It was a squash.
No, it was a tiny pumpkin.
Oh, it was a multicolored pumpkin.
Yes.
It was like a white and a yellow. It was
Sure.
it was a different pumpkin. It
Whatever.
It wasn't a basic pumpkin.
It was a pumpkin
Don't
shape.
sell my pumpkin short.
It was a pumpkin shape and it was small
Okay.
to decorate our table for autumn.
Yes.
Okay. But of course, he picked one that has a bunch of blemishes and looks gross. So I'm like, nah. And I throw it out. And then he's sad. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'll buy you another one. And he's like, no, that was my pumpkin. And he's just sad. And then we go to Trader Joe's again and he sees a felt pine cone. It's about the size of a flat hand, and it's brown and it's felt. And he's like, ooh, that's cool. And I'm like, hey, I'll get it to replace your pumpkin. And he's like, no, it's fine. So then later, I get it for him when I go alone for something. And the woman that cashes me out is like, ooh, a pine cone. And I can tell she's trying to say that it's cool or nice, but she can't quite get there because it's
doesn't-
not cool or nice.
She doesn't think it's cool.
It's leagues away from being beautiful. So she hesitates, and I decide to save her. And I'm like, it's okay. This is not cute. It's a felt, and my husband really wanted it, and I love him. And she just like loses it and is like slapping the counter, trying to not pee. She's like, oh my God, you love him so much. So I guess my you think what is that this pine cone is not very cute, but you really love it. And so it's a gentle you think what, because I love that you love it, and that's why it's cool and cute. But without you loving it, it would be like, that is not cute. It's a brown blob.
Really? You really? Everyone thinks this is this bad? I mean, granted, it doesn't look. It's a rough pine cone.
Yes.
Like, if you're picturing a pine cone, imagine it completely encased in felt, and that's kind of what it looks like. It doesn't have like the subtleties of a real pine cone. It's a rough approximation, like what a
mean,
child would make like a pine
yes.
cone out to be in a class.
Felt objects are kind of rough in general unless you're like
Why?
an artist with it.
Why? They're just hard. It's a hard material to work with. Look, man,
Yeah.
you took my pumpkin away, and I'm glad that you brought this up because I've been thinking about this, and I'll tell you, it felt unfair when you threw away my squash because you have all of these seasonal decorations around the house. You know, there's an issue I have. I pick one little thing
I'm so sorry.
and you chuck it out because it doesn't meet your aesthetic freaking standards.
I can't handle it when things have like holes in them and like gashes.
You know
it
what
looked like it had cuts on it.
Well, that's just nature working on it. You know what it
No.
felt like when you wouldn't let me get my Lakers zombie?
Oh my God.
There was this awesome little statue thing they
No.
had at TJ Maxx one year. It's a zombie, but he's wearing a Lakers uniform. And I'm like, oh, perfect Halloween decoration. And Morgan's like, no way. It's way
You
too
can
ugly.
literally
That's not coming in
get
the house.
anything else. I don't like it when people are like missing skin and there's like holes on them.
It's a Halloween zombie.
It's nasty looking.
Well, thank you for letting me have my felt pine cone. It's the one thing I've ever been able to have other
can
than my
have other
Target seasonal
stuff.
birds.
You can have other stuff.
Well, I'm happy
You
with my
just
pine cone.
picked the
I'm not going to throw it away because I like it and it's nice. So I don't care what all you guys think. It's cool.
Okay, I'm happy for you.
Okay. These are just personal attacks. These aren't even like you're crazy. This is just you're weird. Okay. When we come back, class Christmas comes early when a year of goodness comes back. What the hell did I even write here? We got a profile in class. And then, of course, we've got your no class picks. Stay with us.
We love to trample those with no class here on our show, but equally, we love to elevate, to raise up, to praise the all-class moves by one or many. This week, Brian pays homage to a group of people that collectively came together in this week's Profile in Class.
Living with class is something I think should be done for its own sake, like good deeds without a thought of reward. It's just the right thing to do. But sometimes what goes around does come around, and this week I was overwhelmed with how all the class came back to me. As I said at the top of the show, my new job is stressful. Spinning and balancing plates, trying to keep it all from crashing down over and over again every day. And this particular day, I was doing something completely new, working with a completely different team, and I was thrown into it by surprise. A last-minute schedule change giving me way less time to prepare than I would normally have. And when it came time to pull it off, things went horribly awry, and I was staring into the face of the abyss, and in my moment of need, I kid you not, a straight-up divine miracle happened to save me. And when it was done, I kept getting praise and congratulations for what a great job I did. But it didn't sit right with me because I knew I didn't do it alone. I've been working with the same group of people for about a year now, slowly getting to know them, learning each other's strengths and weaknesses, becoming a team, and I've never really experienced that at work in my entire life. And I didn't fully realize that's what was happening until this day. Because as I sat and I reflected on the chaos of the day, and I was coming down from the emotional terror, I just kept seeing faces and voices asking me, "Do you need help?" A chorus of them. And unlike almost every other day, this time I said yes, please, and I asked them to do something small. And as person after person did their little things, my head rose slightly more above water every time. And in the end, my project was so much better than it would have been if I had tried to make it all on my own. My coworkers were all so classy for offering to help me. They didn't have to at all. They were under no obligation, but they did it. And I just kept asking myself, why? Why would these people do something when they could easily do nothing, like I tend to do? Why would they think about me? And I just kept running it back, every person, every bit of assistance, asking why. And I realized it was simple. I'd never had any conflicts or fights with any of these people. I have always treated all of them with class, with respect. Some of them I know better than others. There have been things between some of them that could have turned into conflicts, but we never let that happen because we all treat each other with class. And it was truly overwhelming to have them bring it all back to me. There was a moment where class became a solid state, changing from concept to reality, when one reaps what one sows, because that metaphor has a positive connotation to it too. You can manifest it and they all humbled me that day. And in the end, not only was I incredibly grateful to all of them and to the world, but I wanted to give it all back to them. And I think it will change everything for me. I don't know if I can ever really pay it all back, but I'm going to try because they did it for me and they have class.
Oh, that gives me all the Christmas feels.
I mean, yeah, it was like literally like that freaking scene at the end of It's a Wonderful Life. Like, it's the scene that I cry in every time I see the freaking movie when the whole town is streaming in through the door into the house and giving him $1, $2, and it's adding up, and he's just like, oh, I can't even believe it's like that was how it felt with just person after person coming to me, and I was like, oh my God, like it's
you're all gonna save me. It's the Lord.
It was amazing.
That's really nice.
And I thank them all. And there are classy people out there.
That's good. That's an overwhelming feeling.
Yeah, it was. So
That's
thanks,
nice.
everyone.
I like it.
All right. Well, when we come back, it's that time. Your No Class Picks of the Week. Stay with us. It's time to wind down the show here, bring it to a close the only proper way with our No Class Picks of the Week.
You're just a jealous,
No class.
lazy bum.
No class pick.
So we had Lily in the studio last week, and she had a No Class Pick for us. So here it is, Lily's No Class Pick for the week. All right, what do you got? What's your No Class Pick?
Okay, so my no class pick is my professors and people at my school in general not replying to their emails because I emailed my minor advisor and she was like, hey, she emailed me and she was like, I noticed you didn't sign up for any minor courses next semester. And I was like, yeah. So I had already planned to do a bunch of like major courses next semester and I don't have room for my minor courses, but because there's like 2 classes I need to take at the same time. And the lady was like, oh, you should take this class. And I was like, well, I can't take this class because that class is in this time slot. And if I drop that class, I have to drop another one of my classes. So it just won't work out. But if there's anything else like we can do, like if you want to meet so we can like discuss further, like I'd be happy to like know my options. And she doesn't reply to me. It's been like,
So she replied. So did you put all of this in an email? What you
Yeah.
just said?
Yeah.
yeah,
And then she didn't reply?
yes.
Of course.
I literally explained to her. I was like, she emails me first and then is like, can you do this? And I replied like within the day. And then she emailed me the next day. And then I said, okay, yeah, here's why I can't do that. And then she just simply doesn't reply to me. I'm like, it is literally your job to be advising me.
Yeah.
And you're just not replying.
I know.
What is up with that? I just was like, can we meet?
I hate
It's
this.
not even like it wasn't even like a closed ended email.
Yeah.
And like,
It's amazing.
it's like been a problem too with like people at my school, like professors and what are just not replying to me. And I'm like,
Yeah.
are we serious? What else do you have to do?
I don't
I know you're on your email. I know you're replying to other people. Reply to me. Like, what is going on?
You're literally speaking to my soul right now.
Oh, also when I was meeting with not my minor advisor, but the head of my minor department, she like, I was waiting in that Zoom room for like 15 minutes and she like doesn't show up. So I like, it says I'm in the waiting room and I had a problem with my Zoom. So I'm like, is it me? So I email her like, hey, not sure what's going on.
Yeah.
But I'm in the waiting room and no response, nothing from her. So I'm literally in the Zoom waiting room for like 30 minutes. And she emails me like an hour later. And I was like, because I was like, oh yeah, I'm just going to leave because I'm not sure what's going on. And she's like,
Yeah.
oh, I think it was something on my end. Sorry.
Dang.
That is
And
so
I'm like-
rude.
What are the odds she just forgot? I
Yeah.
think they're pretty high.
Extremely high.
Pretty
but-
high.
I mean, we all
So no class.
do.
Like,
Yes.
she picked the time.
Yeah. Good.
She was like, can you meet tomorrow at noon? And I was like, yeah. Sounds great. See you on Zoom.
I like this. Calling out the college staff for being no class and unprofessional.
Like,
Yes.
what the heck?
Yes.
Yeah, look, you're setting bad examples for the youth, everyone. We want them
Exactly.
to be better and we complain about them, but you're not showing them how it should be done.
No.
Absolutely absurd.
Dang. All right, solid
It's a
pick.
good, that is a good pick.
Solid pick.
It's angering.
All right, thanks, Lily.
Thank you so much.
You were in full agreement the whole time. I'm like laughing. I'm like, oh, this is like, ah, but you're
No,
like,
this is like real life. This is real life.
no
okay.
class. 100%. What do you got?
So this is a class pick because of a classic no class act. Some things are too heinous to even bring up as no class, like anything with sexism, racism. Any of the isms are obviously no class,
Sure.
but they're like next level no class.
Yeah.
So we don't even cover them because
Nope.
those go without saying, you know?
Yep.
Okay, so obviously an old dude harassing women in a coffee shop is no class. Women worldwide will roll their eyes and say, yeah, all in a day's existence. So this guy is like going up to women who are working on their laptops, some even with headphones on, interrupts them, and then proceeds to talk to them way too long about his own bullshit and wants to sit with them. Some compliments are made. The women always look pained, but they're like trying not to be rude. But they really shouldn't act that way because his interruption is beyond rude. He's literally stealing minutes of your life, FYI. So he's gross. Fortunately, I'm on the opposite end of the room, and there are at least 4 to 5 women between me and him, so I think I'm safe. He does smile at me, but I send him my death glare, so he goes back to the amenable blonde. But also, I don't want to leave my fellow female alone, so I kind of watch for a bit because he has her like cornered at this point. And feeling that way in a room full of people is truly heinous, so I want to make sure she's safe and he's just being annoying and not like scary, right? Then this gem of a barista approaches the table. He interrupts, makes up an excuse that the guy needs to check on his order or something at the counter. Then when the creep leaves, this guy checks in with the woman and he's like, "Are you okay? Like, is this okay?" She says yes, he's just annoying, but it's fine. And I was like, man, this never happens in front of me. Like, what a class act. First and foremost, just being aware enough to check on someone and to see that something weird is happening.
Yeah.
Example. In a room full of men eating at Habit Burger, I once tried to help a cashier out when a homeless man was whispering obscenities under his breath at her and like telling her to go back to Mexico. And then I kind of was approaching her to be like, you need to back up, girl. He's within striking distance, but she was frozen because she was really scared. And her fellow workers weren't paying attention. Then this giant dude feels my presence, turns to me, and yells in my face, "I've killed people with my bare hands. You're nothing." And then more than one guy, after this dude leaves, more than one guy sitting in this restaurant has the audacity to ask me if I know him. I'm sorry, use your effing eyeballs. Do I know this man dressed in trash yelling about murder? No, I do not. Thank you for not helping at all, by the way. The 2 women in the restaurant will take on this insane mammoth on their own. So yeah, like classy barista, good looking out.
Damn. Yeah. No, it's
mean-
it's incredibly rare seeing somebody in the world check on anyone.
Yeah,
Or do anything
literally do anything.
proactive for anything.
No.
So that's
It
great.
never happens.
That's great to hear. Dang. You're reliving it now.
I really am. I'm sorry. I got stuck because that guy was humongous and he was like spitting in
I
my face,
remember this.
screaming at me about murdering. And then this guy is like, "Do you know him?"
Yeah, this was like 6 years ago or something.
Yeah.
It's a long time ago.
I have anger in my bones right now.
Yeah. No, he was I wasn't
hell?
there.
Who the hell thinks that?
I don't know, man. I don't know what people
Like,
think.
what are you, on your phone?
Yeah. At least. They're on their phone at the least.
Someone's about to get murdered in the restaurant. And you're like, you
With
know
his-
this guy?
With his bare hands.
Do you know that dude? Is that your dad? What?
Talks to you like that and then leaves.
Yeah. Go back to Mexico. What?
Good Lord, man.
What?
These people.
Insane.
All right. Well,
Anyway.
sorry. All right, guys. That's our show. Thanks so much for being here and hanging with us. Like and or subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. We're on all the apps. Share us with your friends. Tell them that our show is good and that you enjoy it and that they will enjoy it as well. We appreciate you guys so much. Reach out to us everywhere. Instagram @That'sNoClass. You can also send us an email or voicemail. That'sNoClass@gmail.com or call 877-7NO-CLASS, or as Morgan likes to say, 877-766. Come on.
2527.
It's getting old, right? It's done. We won't do it anymore. All right. Morgan has short tolerance for the segments that we do.
I can't.
Golden
Have you
Bachelor,
singing.
dead.
I can't.
Singing, dead. All these
have you
things,
singing
they're
every
over.
time. It's too
No
weird.
more. It is kind of weird.
cheesy.
Today it got weird.
It's too cheesy.
Oh,
Get rid of it.
all right. Call
Let's
us
go.
up. We love having your stories on the show.
Stay classy.
Stay classy and have a great week.